good morning, my MVP family and all the visitors who will listen to this message. Good morning, wherever you are. Hoping that you had a grand rising today and you are just giving thanks for every single thing that has been bestowed on us, for the things that didn't go so right. Let's use them as as a lesson for growth. And the things that went well, I hope that your heart rejoices and that you're not forgetting, but that you're giving thanks and acknowledging that there is a person, a God who cares, a God who promises to never leave us nor forsake us. This morning I got up, I was thankful to be up. Yesterday I was tired, I didn't rest well the night before and got up so early in the morning, went out walking, and so I was a little off. I just couldn't because I was fighting the sleep, guys. I came back, I said I'm not going back to my bed. And so I stayed up and was just fighting the sleep, and so by the time night comes I was a little bit off. But I got ready and I went to bed, and the sleep came and I slept through the night, and I woke up this morning refreshed and thankful. We got ready, we went out for our walk, and we came back, and I sat here in my chair at the desk, and I felt I no first I called my sister. I came in and I woke up my sister. I guess she was still in bed, but I know she was going to work, so I called her. We had a good talk and good long talk, and she got up. She says, "Beverly, you know what time it is? I gotta go to work, girl." And she jumped out of bed and hung up the phone, and I said, "All right, have a good day." And I decided to come and sit in the chair, and I dozed off, and I didn't fight it, guys. I dozed off, and when I got up, it was 10 o'clock when I opened my eyes. But it you know how you get that short sleep and you wake up with a burst of energy and feeling good, just feeling good. And so I decided to just talk to us for a moment. I'm not going in to change my walking clothes. I'm not going in to do my hair. I am just talking to us guys because I I I thought about it, and I said so many times we're choosing companions or we're getting into friendships, forming relationships, and we pick up people from different places. We know somebody cuss and swears, and we saw them disrespecting adults. We saw them disrespecting the parents, right? We hear them talking to other people in a bad way. We listen to them talk badly about other people. When I say badly, I mean badly. I don't mean something happened and you're discussing it and say I felt so bad. They talk badly about what they would like to see happen to other people, and they put other people down, but yet we form relationships with them. Some of us, we go out and we find people who we know goes to the bar. We go out, we see people who are cheating or doing things that they know are not supposed to be done. But we join up with them, right? We form a bond with them. And then all of a sudden, the behaviors that we saw, that we observe in these people, it starts coming back into our faces. And then we complain and we act as if we didn't know. But people, listen to me. If you are forming a long-term relationship, if you want to get married and you went to the bar and pick up somebody, understand that that's where they're going to go. And just like they picked you up in the bar, they're going to pick up other people in the bar. If you're looking online for dates and dating apps and these kind of things that you don't even get to know people, people are just telling you what they want to tell you, and you're falling in love with it, then you know that if they're doing it, they're going to do it again. They're going to be picking up other people through that same app again. And whether they change information or whatever, but know that this is their tendency, right? If you see somebody who is in a relationship with somebody and you hear them cussing the person and feeling good about it, them sick and tired and do these things, know that it's going to come back right smack in your face. Also, because that's who they are. That is who they are. So as you go out there, guys, and you are getting into these relationships, remember to stand in the space that God has given to you. Create your miracles in the space God has given to you. I remember when I was talking to Donnie, and I reached out to my aunt's husband in Jamaica, and because Donnie, it was like I prayed for a companion. I said the girls were older and they were in college. Christopher was getting older and ready to move on soon. And because one of the things I always said to them, I said, when I want to make sure that, if nothing else, I want to work hard. And but all of them, I'm giving them the chance to get into a college. What they do with the opportunity, it's up to them. But I thought that was the ultimate goal, to make sure that your children are capable of taking care of themselves. And so I'm watching Christopher getting ready soon to graduate from high school, and I know the next thing is college. So I went home. Granny died. I went home, and my cousin brought Donnie and said, "Here she is." And I didn't know what that was about until way later when I said to my cousin, "What was that?" Because this has been years I haven't seen them. I haven't seen them for years. And so we went to the same school, all age school, but I skipped classes. I skipped grade 5, they put me into grade 6, then they took us from grade 6 and they put us into grade 9. So I skipped many classes. So when I left St. Elizabeth, um, it has been years I've never seen them or anything. But you know how you're living, and people like when I went to my mom's funeral, and there were people there telling me how much they love me. I said, my husband is over there. Well, we loved you before he did. And I was saying, it's strange, I went to church with you all and none of you ever said that you loved me. And none of you showed any kind of emotion like I was worthy to be a wife or something. But I said, what God has planned for you, it's what he has planned for you. Because those kind of things would have probably fizzled out, because that's not what God had in store for this girl. And so when my cousin brought him and said, here she is, I was wondering, what was that supposed to be? And I was serving the soup and serving the drinks. And so I said, I'm busy right now. And I went home, went home very humbly, because I'm not a dressy person. I wear my African outfits, I wear, but I am just a regular person. So even when I went to my grandmother's the ninth night, when we were there, I was a regular girl. I wasn't a foreigner. I was in my big t-shirt and my long skirt, and I was just serving. I was just happy to be there, because this was a woman who sacrificed so much for me. And so each day I look, whatever degrees I have, whatever success I have, it was her raising me with learning to respect and how to survive. And so I told him I was busy, and I took a styrofoam cup. I remember that he wrote his number on it, and I brought, when everything was over, people left like 1 o'clock in the morning, everybody. everything was quiet. I went down to the main house because my aunt had a shop, big shop. So that's when we decided to serve the liquor and the food, the soup, and then the food was served on the other side. And so we went down, and I was laughing because I was saying to my cousins, I said, "Did anybody get a number?" And they said, "No, you lucky person, you." I said, "But I didn't come here looking for a number. I wasn't like there was nothing. I wasn't looking for anybody. I wasn't like, oh my God, I've got to, no. I was just going about my business to get my grandmother buried and to return to my responsibilities here." And then we started corresponding. They would call and call eventually, maybe a month or so. I called and we started talking. And a good person to talk to. He knows his politics, he knows stuff. He talks from a distance. When you're him in the same space, he doesn't talk a lot. And at the time, we used to scratch cards, buy cards and scratch them, because I used to talk to him so much that my phone bill was like $290 something dollars, $199. The phone bills were exorbitant, was so much because maybe I was just lonely. But no, that's not true because loneliness is a different thing. You get, but he wasn't talking like he's not that kind of a person. So mostly we're talking about what's going on down in Jamaica. Where is so and so, old classmates, old, you know. So we had a lot to talk about. And I remember my children would be at school, at college in the University of Buffalo, being in New York, that far cold place. And I would be home, and all of a sudden, one of them, one of them would send us, say, "Here, mommy, we put some. Here's a number, mommy," and they would be buying these $20 cards for me to just call Daddy. And they said, "Mommy, I think you're going to marry this person because you're enjoying the conversations with him." And I remember when I reached out to my uncle, when my aunt's husband down there, and I mentioned about thinking about what I was going to do, and he says you couldn't have chosen a better person. He says this young man has never gotten into conflicts. He has never gotten. You have never heard his name into any kind of mix-up. He's not a person in a rum bar. You never see. And that made me feel good. That made me feel good. And even when I would start visiting down there, and you listen to his conversations, and you realize that this is a person, he never curses at a human being. You never hear him call anybody the B word, or he doesn't curse. If there's a conflict, he'd rather just move away from the situation and then stand there and get caught up. And I just often I say, "God, you know what? I am thankful. I ask you for a companion, and that's exactly what you gave to me. We're here, and we might not exchange a word. We're not angry, but it is so perfect. Everything just falls right into place. You don't hear ding, 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 ding. You don't hear that around us in here. And I give God the glory for that. And so this morning, as I speak to us, guys, remember, if we find them in the rum bar, don't think that when you become an item, you start sharing space, don't think that they're not going to head right back to that rum bar. And if they found you there, they will find others there. Right? So don't just sit there, and for those of you who you might be a little bit naive about things, but don't get pushed into any space you don't want to be in. Respect yourselves first. Let us first learn. I always say embrace who we are, but we must also respect ourselves first. And once we learn to do that, we will make sure that the people that we're going to connect ourselves with, you know, they might be poor. So what? Work together and build. Don't look at people and get caught up into get push yourself into situations that are going to be bitter, but they're able to buy bread, or they're able to buy, they drive a car, and you get excited for those things. Because believe me, it is sweeter if you have to get up a little earlier, get out there and take your vehicle and get to where you need to get to. And on your way back, you feel good going back to that space you call home. Than to sit there and you're getting dropped off at the supermarket and you go pick up all sort of this and that. You pick up every item in that supermarket. But then you're going back to the car and you feel apprehensive. You feels like, you know, whatever. And you sit in the car and there starts an argument. And you get home and it's like, it is such torment. So let me tell you, it's better for you to be involved with somebody simple. A lot of people with good education are arrogant, especially the men. Their ego is too big. And because of that, they create the living space with them becomes torturous. They want things a certain way. They want you to dress a certain way. They want you to wear your high heels even when your knees are killing you, even when your ankles are killing you, even when those high heels are blinding you. Because walking in high heels is not fun. I used to wear them. I used to wear the working heels after a while. I didn't go the spike heels. Because when you're standing, your toes are pushed forward into those little skimpy toes. Listen, man, it's not easy. So a lot of times you have these people with their big education and they want you to represent. They don't want humility anymore. They don't want you to wear nice lace-up shoes but you're comfortable. They don't want you to wear a nice dress that is comfortable. They want you to show it all, and they want to, and that's all they're interested in. And so in your head you know that if this is what they want after you've had their children, after your body has changed, then just know that they're looking out there at other people. Because a lot of people don't look at their children and look at the wife who gave them the children and learn to appreciate the blessing. They don't. They still want the young body and the firm breasts, and they want all of that instead of appreciating and giving God the glory and loving the person who gave them those treasures. So a lot of times, guys, less is more. And you work together and you build, and they appreciate you. And as I said in another video, that when you leave your home and you get ready to go back home, that it gives you joy to go home. You should never feel anger in heading back to your homes. Your home should be a warm, friendly place that all the hustle and the bustle and the impatience out there dissipates. You're relaxed when it's time to go home because you know it feels good to be home. So today I just wanted to just talk to us, and I said, we should never choose people whom the people we choose then should not be the people who display these negatives, and then we're expecting them when they come into your present, into your space, to be different. They are bringing who they are with them into the space that you will share with them. regardless of all things, I will say to you guys, I will leave this with you. I was doing so great, right? Now my nostrils get stuffy. But I'm still going to sing for you. And again, I say to you guys, it's not about my voice or my nasal incapabilities right now. Because I was so clear before and I decided I wanted to do this song for you guys through it all. I've had many tears and sorrow. I've had questions for tomorrow. There've been times I didn't know right from wrong. But in every situation, God gave me consolation that my trials come to only make me strong. I've been a lot of places and I've seen millions of faces, but there were times that I felt so all alone. But in my lonely hour, in those precious lonely hours, Jesus lets me know that I was his own. So I say through it all, I've learned to trust in Jesus. I've learned to trust in God. Through it all, I've learned to depend upon his words. So I thank God for the mountains, and I thank him for the valleys, and I thank him for the storms he has brought me through. For if I didn't have a problem, I would never know that God could solve them. I'd never know what faith in his word could do. So through it all, I have learned to trust in Jesus. I've learned to trust in God. Through it all, I have learned to depend upon his words. I have learned to depend upon his words. So my people, through it all, let us just learn to depend upon him for all things. And when he solves the problems, and when he gives us the patience, when he gives us the tolerance, when he gives us the joy, when he helps us to create places of abode where we feel good to be, to spend a lot of hours. We sleep there, we eat there, we have to spend so much time there. When he has blessed us, that we have that peace of mind when we get to that place of abode. Let us never forget to thank him. Let us never forget to thank him for bringing us through it all and providing all things for us. So remember, don't talk about, oh God, I want a husband, I want a rich husband, I want this kind of husband, I want a tall, good-looking man, I want a brown-skinned man so my kids have good color. Oh, I want this, a man who has a car. Let us not forget the important thing is that you want a companion that is tolerable, a companion that you can grow old together with. And so, whatever else God wants you to have, he will give it to you. As I said, when I met Danny that night and my cousin brought him to me, and when I asked later, I said, what was that about? I remembered you brought him. I said, here she is. Why did you say that? And Gerald said to me, he was Danny's good friend. And Gerald would go by the shop where Danny did his welding. I didn't know he was a welder at first until I started talking to him. And so he would say, a lot of times they would be talking and they would ask about Granny and the little girl that Granny used to raise over there. Danny would ask, whatever happened to her? Whatever happened to her? And he said, the, 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 the thing came up so many times that when the opportunity came, he brought him to say, here she is. You keep asking about her, now here she is. And I just said that's how God works, people. When I eventually, as we talk, and Danny has his own car, he had his own, right? He had a home, might not have been a grand home, but he had a place for his own. He had a trade, right? He had a trade. Didn't have a college education, but he had a trade. He could eat bread. And as we talked, and he knows I'm a teacher, and we talk, and you know, and we just go forth, and then the kids met him and loved him. And I say the first thing is just to teach your children to be respectful. And so you teach them that. You're not forcing them to call him dad, or, my kids were grown. My kids are grown people. My son was 18 when Danny came to America. My son was heading to college. And so they come home and they call him stepdad, stepdad, and that's fine. My children would call him Mr. Danny. That is fine. But there was no one calling him by his first name and calling him out of his name. There was no one walking in here and questioning him or behaving like he wasn't a part of this family. There was no one who thought, no, because that was not going to be accepted. He came in, he was respectful, and you leave it and let God do His work. And they grow, and once we would have family dinners, everybody's coming to us, and my cousin whispered to me that he knows how to cook. So when I go to Jamaica, he's like, I said, okay. And when he got here, I said, you know how to do it. And there are things he learned, there are things I did, and he learned, and different utensils to use for things, different equipment to use for things, and he learned. And now when he cooks, the kids love when he cooks. So I just say, okay. So now we're having big gatherings. I don't need to stand up there anymore, cleaning up fish, trimming off fins and all sorts of things. He cleans up the fish. He does it all. The kids are happy. He provides little containers for them to bring their foods away with them. And to God be the glory. So I said, guys, don't look for perfections. Do not look for perfections. You embrace who you are, and the people around you will embrace you. For those of us with the weight, and we're struggling with the weight, and you love you, because if you love you, nobody can put you down. Nobody can make you feel less, because you love who you are. You hold up your chins, and you square up those shoulders, and you be the best you can be. One of the things I tell people, I said, dress appropriately. A lot of people, they have the weight, but they feel like, and they carry themselves a certain way. And give people reason to talk. We cannot prevent people from talking if we're giving them things to talk. So carry yourselves well with dignity and pride. Hold your heads high and carry yourselves with dignity and with pride. You'd be surprised that for me in the classroom, when kids would, you never wear pants to school. You never wear this, you never wear. But for me as a teacher, I just feel like there is a standard to be set. And so for me, I'm comfortable, like, just dressing properly and going into school. And it's okay, people do what they do. But, I said, For me, I remember as a child going to school. In my formative years, I see teachers were dignified people. They were like, everybody's dressed up in their nice skirts and their stockings and their black shoes, and my God, so beautiful. So beautiful. And so those, I'm not saying that you dress in your pantsuit and you what have you. Beautiful. But I just say when we are, the people who just put something on and goes to work with children, and if we're getting them ready for society, if we're getting them ready for success, we want to let them know that, you know, it's okay if you carry yourself well, if you wear your clothes, a nice clean shirt, if you wear your things, wear them nicely, and fix your mind to be able to sit in front of somebody and do an interview and be successful. Today there's so much out there with the World Wide Web. A lot of people are building their wealth through that. And so, yes, we know that if you're going to be self-employed, if you're putting yourself in that position, but you're also going to need a time when you might need a corporation to say, could you invest in what I'm selling? And so you will need to know how to represent. So I'm just saying, my people, this morning, this is what I wanted to say to us, and to just remind us that we are beautiful inside and out. And as we choose, whether it's just a friend, if you choose a friend who is loud and argumentative and disruptive, then know that that is going to be part of you. If you choose people who are respectful and decent and who speaks the truth quietly and who are humble in their ways, then we know that they're going to be all right. We know that that's how they're going to treat you. They're going to treat you with kindness and softness. So as you choose, remember, stand firmly in the space God has given you. Create miracles in that space that God has given you. Connect with people who will help you to create those miracles in the space, and who will make that space, who will respect your space and help you to grow in God's grace. So make it a great day, guys. And remember that through it all, we must learn to trust in Jesus. We must learn to depend upon his words, because he's a great God. If you can be good, be careful, but walk good, do good, live good, my people, and go forth with love.